we're here to talk about story writing and Zack Snyder. So we're going to talk about 300, right?
That's kind of gay.
How dare you?
I didn't realize until 2 minutes ago that it was Zack Snyder because I just finished it up.
You couldn't tell from all the slow-mo?
It could have been a Van Damme movie.
I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not a big movie buff.
Wait.
The board.
Let me get my bus, guys. Let me get my bus. Oh, there we go. Oh, two retards.
Also,
right
I don't want to hear any Snyder, any of the Snyder talk. You're the one who said we were going to do a Snyder flick this week, you son of a gun.
No snide remarks from you, sir, about Snyder.
And the best movie he's ever made wins, and he's like, oh, why do you have to pick a Snyder movie? Bro! It's in the rules! You did it! You chose! This guy
gets cucked. This chick gives up the punani for nothing.
We could have had cute girls with samurai swords and mechs, and instead we're watching losers in diapers.
We could have got Batman v Superman. Come on.
The worst. Don't. You know what? I'll give it to Justin. At least his reasoning makes sense. BVS, there's no reason to watch that movie ever again.
Oh wait, guys, sorry, I introed this movie totally wrong. So as you can see, I am dressed up like a Spartan, and we're gonna talk about the movie 300.
Don't listen, he's an Athenian.
It's the totally straightest movie you guys can watch.
Oh, I've chosen my words carefully. Perhaps you should have done the same.
Yes.
Emily, give us our rundown of the movie for this week.
All right, this is the rundown. We need a little infographic with like lightning strikes or something. So
I should get a lightning.
Is that how it looks, Bat?
Here.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
That works for everything.
Especially when you're involved.
The heroic Spartan king Leonardo, armed with nothing but
Leonardo. I can slap you.
Leonardo, armed with nothing. Armed with nothing but the heroic Spartan king Leonardo, armed with nothing but leather underwear and a cape, leads a ragtag bunch of 13 Spartan misfit warriors to defend their homeland against thousands of invading Persians, whom include the Ghost Rider, Rocky Balboa, the Autobots, and an ugly hunchbacked Paris Hilton and a shaved-headed Britney Spears. This is directed by...
He did so against the advice of the mutants.
There's like a deeper level joke here that's probably going to fly over everyone's heads. I don't care. It's directed by Zack SNYDER. It's starring Gerald Butler, Kevin Sorbo. That's a hint. Carmen Electra. That's a hint.
Kevin Sorbo.
Lena Headey. It had a budget of $65 million and it made a cool $456 million.
Damn.
Kevin Sorbo's in Meet the Spartans.
It probably reviewed well, would be my guess. I forgot to look up the reviews. I'm getting
talk about cultural bombs.
Yeah. And the bad guy was
in a good way.
Oversized Dolph Lundgren with a tan and a bait box stuck to his face.
No, so when this movie came out, it was everywhere. Everybody kept quoting the absolute crap out of it.
It's a very quotable movie.
It's a very quotable movie. It's very quotable. That is one of the positives of it.
In a long list. Yeah,
I remember I was deep in World of Warcraft back then, and there was a clan everybody knew about, the 300 clan. They always had 300 members, no less, no more.
Well,
it was everywhere.
Well, you went into the military, so you got tired of
Bro, this movie recruited more Marines than 9/11 did, dude.
Yep. That's the point.
300 more powerful than 9/11. You heard it here first, folks.
Honestly, on the rewatch 2 hours ago, when I watched Leonidas kick that douchebag over the cliff, America!
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about that too.
That's weird. That's weird. I was like, "Fuck Muslims," but
this was very targeted to Americans with the whole framing of the Spartans.
They're fighting for freedom.
They're free men. Yeah,
they have slaves. It's not historically accurate. We can move on.
We're all soldiers. I'm sorry. How are you guys all soldiers? We don't talk about the slaves, guys.
It's weirdly historically
We're
accurate.
fighting
That's
for
what I'm gonna
our freedom. You know, the citizens, not those people.
say. There's a lot of points in this that are actually spot on historically accurate. Like
Yes,
kicking in,
more
did you
than
guys
it
know
deserves.
Did you guys know that scene where he kicks him into the well is actually exactly what happened? Almost.
Yeah, that's that.
That's
As much
basically what happened.
as much as we
And that's
can
what he
know
said.
about that
Wait,
I wasn't
ancient
there.
history, yes.
Wait, so they had a bottomless pit well in Sparta?
No, that's
Okay.
okay. My second point is this.
So
is
here's-
how you
but
make a
here's the
comic
thing.
book movie.
And
That's
this
how you
is
make a comic book movie.
this goes for the movie as well. I get it, not historically accurate, but you killed the messenger. Is that not a declaration of war?
Oh, it absolutely was a
Yeah. So why is he talking about like, I don't know, guys? We have to convince them if we're going to go to war or not? You're going to war. You declared war by kicking
did they
the
because
messenger.
they needed to give Lena Headey something to do.
Yeah, that's all bullshit.
Wouldn't
I
it
don't
take a
know.
while for them to know that they killed the messenger? If there's like, is that messenger back? We haven't. It's been like a week. He should have been back, right? He like.
Oh yeah, they would.
in.
Well, they were on horses, so like a day or two. Oh, well, I guess that's the answer. Anyway.
Well,
Historically,
not to mention, apparently they had people behind the scenes with their troll.
Maybe
fucking
he just fell in
Well,
love while he was there with the
this-
hunky guy. You don't
the
know.
Spartans are proud of what they do. So historically, I may be misremembering, but I think they did. They sent their own message back. Like they kicked him into the well, and then basically was like, "Here's what we did to your bitch messengers."
Zack Snyder
Come at
wasn't
us.
going to show us a messenger riding on horseback for
Right,
3
right.
days.
He
And
said
you know
so-
what? I'll
Yeah.
give him that. He doesn't need to
Mhm.
show that.
The pen adds so much. Oh, I thought you
He
had a
would have
pen
done it
and
in
you were like-
super
it was
slow-mo
Like,
if
it
he
added
did.
weight to your arguments.
Yes,
I was like,
yes.
I need a pen.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
So, I mean, let's talk about the actual historical aspect, or like what actually happened, right? So,
don't
I
know.
guess somewhere around 300 Spartans went down there, but if the Athenians sent way more, and they didn't leave; they stuck with them the whole time. And not to mention, like 40 years before, the Athenians had to fend off the Persians in the first place, and the Spartans weren't there. So this whole shitting on the Athenians the whole time is like bullshit. And not to mention, does it take more courage to be a fucking cook and be like, yeah, I'm here to fight for my country? Oh, well, you're just a cook, you're not a real soldier.
I
Like,
mean,
fuck
in the
you,
movie,
dude.
they did when certain death when death was certain, they did leave like bitches. I'm gonna point that out.
In the movie.
Okay, let's no. Talk about
Wait a
history.
minute, wait a minute.
Let's make something freaking clear. The movie is based off of a graphic novel that is based off of a poem, which is based loosely off of historical events.
Which is written by the victors.
Yeah, the
Right.
historical
Yep.
events have gone through a lot of
Yep.
confusion between then and now. So
those
we can-
records are
An
pretty. Those
interesting
records are
fun
pretty
fact,
good.
By the way, I was listening to Terran Tuesdays earlier today, and R.H. Snow brought up that at the Alamo, they were inspired by the story 300, and that story actually inspired them to keep fighting at the.
So yes, this
And
movie
those were
did
the
recruit
manliest
more
men.
Marines. This movie did, of course, recruit more Marines than 9/11. Of course.
Remember
after
at the
what
Alamo
Rangers-
when they
So-
watched 300?
So okay, so historically, and the historical records are pretty damn accurate on this stuff. It was more like about 1,000 men when you include the Athenians and also
the
other
Arcadians.
neighboring
Yeah,
cities as well, or countries, whatever.
It was basically mercenaries. Whoever wanted to go.
No, it wasn't just mercenaries. I mean, like Athens supported the fuck out of them, and also Athena also finished the war. So, but it was more basically
Athena, the
1,000.
goddess?
basically. That's
So
what this-
Athens, whatever. Anyways, so it was
Anyway.
basically 1,000 troops against like 250,000 is what they are estimating, which is an insane number difference. And they took out about like 25,000, which is insanely awesome.
Oh,
and
it's
why
insane, yeah.
which is why this is something to mark
King,
about.
King
Okay.
Leonidas fell during the battle.
Yeah. he did.
It was an entire plot point of the historical lore around it that the Spartans fought ferociously over and wouldn't let anybody near his body and kept fighting. But they eventually, killed them all and got the body and impaled him and like did the whole like Robert Stark thing from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But yeah, spoilers.
Also, historical spoilers, Xerxes was a giant. Unfortunately, when his body was created and made larger, it didn't work on his penis. Everything else was larger, just not that.
And I think it made him.
That's what the historical records show us.
Yeah.
From Napoleon Complex to Napoleon.
Yeah.
Okay, question. How many of you knew anything about any of this history prior to seeing this movie?
I was in like high school.
Not
man. I
I.
didn't know anything.
I never heard anything about any of this until this movie came out. And obviously, any historical, cinematic, anything, they warp the context of what exactly happened and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And
It
to
Well,
me,
if you want
they-
historically accurate, you got to watch 10,000 BC.
That's gross.
Yeah, remember all those historical
Wait, no.
records from back then? Yeah.
what was
Hold
the
on.
one with Noah and there was the talking rocks with Hermione?
Oh, that
one,
stupid,
that's the
godless. It was called Noah, and dude, I can't. Okay, yeah,
All
we're
right,
moving
I stand
on.
for the record. I stand corrected. Some of you knew the history. I know the history. I went in this. I'm like, this movie needs to stand on its own. I watched it, and anytime I see a historical movie, I just assume everything's wrong because.
Okay, how about this? Let's get into criticisms. So,
Yeah.
any criticisms? AC, none.
I
Me,
have
none. I guess there's nothing to criticize.
It floats. Next subject. It floats. Next.
All right. Let's just start with some of the more big the scenes up front. Like it opens up with him being young, right? Or is it his
Yeah,
son?
the trial against nature.
Yeah,
They have
It's
a-
him
a-
being young. It's it.
And foreshadowing. Yeah,
wrestling.
foreshadowing the future,
hot
like battle tech.
Actually, I
tactics.
like that opening scene because it showcased his strategic mind. When he had to face off himself, he backed
Yep.
to an area where it was just bottlenecked him. So
I
the
agree.
only way the
Oh,
wolf could
stop.
attack him was through his spear.
all
And-
defended.
And it's historically accurate in that there was an Agogi. Granted, this was a little bit of a cinematized version of it, and
Agogi?
it's called the Agogi.
Yeah, I like
AGOG.
how like he's in freezing cold temperatures in a loincloth.
And bare feet. Yeah.
That's how I grew up, you son of a gun. You
No,
know?
I do like how it opened. I like the foreshadowing. Like that was good.
Honestly, Faramir narrating throughout, I really
Yeah.
liked that part too.
Yeah.
I guess.
I live in New England.
I wish it was Faramir.
Handling the
Is that
cold
what-
isn't all that far.
At the end, Regan Gandalf rides over on the horse to save them.
Well, so then it got like it got really weird when he had to go up the mountain to talk to the mystics or whatever the fuck they're called.
Dude, this is the first.
And
Yeah, they're from Chernobyl, I think.
Oh my gosh.
this scene had so many problems. No, they were Spartans actually. So
Yeah.
try to make sense of that. So if they're Spartans, why the fuck are they allowed to live?
They're treated
They-
differently.
they're-
They were Spartans.
Okay, so
They were from Sparta.
The toughest guys, they're all about like
Yeah, they're
genetic
mystics.
purity and the strongest men. What do they do with their most like beautiful woman, their most like genetically superior
That like
woman?
12-year-old woman.
They feed her to these. They call them. I have the quote here. Where
Oh,
they're
Bat
inbred
Sauce
dudes
and
on
his
the hill.
12-year-old women.
The direct quote from the movie, they call them worthless remnants, old wretches with the needs of men and souls black as hell. And
Yep.
they feed this young girl, their most beautiful girl, to these
Yep.
cretins, and then they seek out counsel from them. These guys
Yeah.
are. What is, dude? They're weak, man. No wonder they
Well,
lost.
it's-
No
That
wonder
was
they lost.
absolutely
So would they
retarded.
say her beauty was her curse or something like that?
I
What
don't
does
know
that
if you,
mean?
Yeah.
Justin. I don't know if you caught this. Leonidas fucking hated those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why did they
about it.
let why did they
Wait
let
about it.
them be like
Tradition.
live?
He sought
Why
counsel
did-
and was like, okay, and walked away. And then he made a passive aggressive comment at the weasel who ends up with his wife later. He's like, I'm taking 300 guys for a walk. Why don't you say like, we're going to war, you're a pansy, I hope you die, and then go, he's like, we're going for a walk, I'm passive aggressively
Because they were messing around with a little thing called it was the prehistoric democracy is what we were looking at.
It's
there.
we're gonna go.
It
Die
was a
while
bunch
you
of
have your
hoopla.
way
He
with
would
my
slander
wife.
him.
Is basically it was like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, this is
So,
driving me crazy.
that's-
Anyway.
Well,
Scene-
so back to the Mystics, yeah.
I was gonna say that scene where he climbs up the mountain to see the mystics. Book.
How did he
it's-
get food up there?
It's source accurate, source material accurate. It's also
There's a path.
historically
It just
accurate.
it's like instead of going up, it takes a really long gradual way, and he's like, I'm not doing that.
That's the
Yeah.
comic book version. Yeah. But there was
She took the
actually
elevator.
the Oracle, who was actually a young girl who did actually go into trances and like speak in tongues like they portrayed, and there was like the council weirdos up there that they probably exaggerated a little bit with the appearance, but yeah, that
Yeah,
all
they-
kind of checks out. So this is what I'm saying, like the movie's weirdly accurate It's very
No,
inaccurate, but it's
no.
weirdly accurate in some ways.
Story.
I'm calling hoopla.
Well,
I'm calling hoopla.
At the very least, that's accurate to the source material. So
Okay.
Frank
Well,
Miller,
well, then how come like 2 seconds after you find the that backstabbing politician and
That's not
a
accurate.
Persian? How the fuck? How did the Persian
Persian
get up
is-
there?
the
Why
Persian
is he
is-
paying them in like a crazy amount of gold when literally that's like looks like it's more money than they have to pay in taxes up to the Persians? Like,
They don't even look like they
it's
need
about
gold for anything.
the
They don't-
Persians are exceedingly wealthy. They've conquered and taught like many nations at this point. Like it's all demonstrating the overwhelming force that is Persia. It's not just their armies, it's their wealth, it's their influence, it's their corruption.
culture. Yeah.
opulence.
Yeah.
but
And-
it's like
and
it
they-
made no
and-
sense that they got into Sparta like that.
And at that point in time, Xerxes and his father Darius, I believe, both knew that the Greeks were divided, and they both knew how
They
strong.
were they also
nations
knew
like
that they
Sparta
were oh, what do you call it when you're weak to something? They were vulnerable. They were vulnerable to spiritual manipulation.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
What was the
and they all were
prediction?
doing their
Oh,
best
sorry.
Toxic Avenger cosplay.
Yes, they were.
Toxic Avenger. Hey, New Jersey hero, let's go.
And
What were you
what
saying,
prediction did they make? What prediction did they make? They
They-
said in the movie,
cucked him.
Greece will fall. Oh, what'd
Yep.
you say? Oh, I'm
Yep.
so glad you gave me your prettiest girl. They said that Greece is gonna fall, and they said
Let me
that-
grab her tit. That'll help me understand.
Oh God. It's so weird.
Oh, Mr. Bow to No Man, Mr. Leonidas, these trad ruler, bow to no man.
Yep.
Okay, weird guys.
I already
I'll-
have an
you know.
answer.
It's like
Uh,
I'll take your word for it. It's like he's in a way bowing to them. He's submitting to their influence. I know he goes against it, but he listens. He doesn't say "There's a Sparta" and kick them off the cliff.
He
says,
is-
"Okay."
He
King,
literally,
that
wait.
is-
He literally could have went back to them and been like, "Yo, the Mystics said like we're good for war. Like they told me."
He could have just lied. He could have just lied.
But I
But
did love that attitude.
he's
through the
trying.
whole
He's
movie,
trying.
though.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
demonstrating-
he is the king, but he's limited in what he can do. He
So-
he can't wholeheartedly go
He
against
can
the
lie.
council. Yeah,
not?
but that's not.
then all
Yeah,
of
no.
Because
He didn't lie
because
at Jackson
killing a
Town.
messenger is so honorable, and also lying about
Yeah,
he lied about anyways
exactly.
about going to not war.
Some
Well,
rules
then-
matter, some rules
They-
don't.
Yeah.
And the ones that
They
do
attacked
involve them,
him,
like,
man. What can you
Yep.
say?
I will
Who
say,
attacked him?
if he goes against the E4s, then all of Greece unites against Sparta, and Sparta doesn't exist anymore. And that's the thing; they're divided, right? So that's the thing that keeps them kind of all in check. That's how Macedonia and Alexander the Great go to conquer all of Greece, because they're still divided.
So
they
you're
haven't gotten their
saying
shit
they're
together.
they're kind of lame, is what you're getting at. It's a
Well-
roundabout way of saying that they can lift weights all day, but they're under the rule of these inbred, boil-ridden weirdos.
Yeah, they're kind of like popes in a way. Yeah, like where they just control all the satellites.
Justin, I agree it's dumb, but that's kind of a lot of like weird misshapen guys are treated as like magicians or sorcerers back in the
Even
day.
so, they
They're
could have made
dumb.
it like a little less weird. They like
No.
why
Yeah,
why does the
no.
movie feel the need to weird me the fuck out?
Because it's not as weird as a lot of like if read Greek myth. This is that was very tame
Now,
compared to Greek
here's
myth.
an idea.
that's
Well,
true.
what if
Look
you
at Zeus,
abandon
yeah.
the history? What if you abandon all of it and just make an awesome movie where the guys that are muscular and awesome, they're just awesome the whole time, and there's no
fantasy.
So wait, let's go with
Right.
this too.
Okay.
Why did they have to
Good.
be
We're on
shirtless
the
the
same
whole
page.
time? Why do we have to look at their nips the entire movie? Like, please answer me.
Was
This.
that what you were looking at, Bats? Is that an admission?
Was there anything else to look at? There were like just 600 nips on the screen at all times. It's
That's
all man nips.
they never explain like we don't wear armor, so we're more agile in battle. They never.
That's
say
not even a
anything.
thing. That's not a thing.
Like, back it up.
That's not a thing. Why were they not wearing armor?
It's
First
battle
off-
bikinis or whatever those ladies wear. It's
Wait
that.
for what? Sorry. Wait, what was that?
Talking about fantasy.
No. AC, what'd you say? Why were they not wearing armor?
First off, they did wear armor historically.
They did.
Yes,
That-
I know historically, but we're talking about the movie.
Exactly. I'll get to that. That's a Frank Miller inaccuracy dramatized because Frank
Uh-huh.
Miller felt more comfortable drawing superheroes in tights. So
Herman
what is
brings up a
Superman?
good point.
So
about
that's
that.
my point.
That's why he did it. So historically inaccurate. And furthermore, the reason you don't see any female nips bats is because there was only one woman in the whole movie who spoke, and that was one too many because she wasn't she wasn't in the source material.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to understand, why would armor not be cooler than watching shirtless men the whole time?
Frank
Yeah,
Miller.
it's true. If you're
It-
gonna
it-
go
it
into
was- it
battle,
was an
That's a
It
terrible
was-
excuse.
It was an
your name better
aesthetic
be
choice.
Rambo.
So Frank Miller is a bad artist, so we should.
He's not a bad
We should
artist.
do-
He's a bad writer.
Well, he
think it's
he
cool.
has to draw all
it's cool.
the men as gay as possible. Yeah,
They have armor. They have a shield.
they have a shield.
To be fair, their shield covers pretty much their entire body plus.
And
To
their
be fair.
masculinity. That's a huge
From
plus in
side?
their armor.
Only if the man
Also,
next
Bats,
to him
I
is
think you're
real
just too
close
insecure
with
to
the
go
shield.
out in a man cave. I'm not. I'll do it right now. No.
The shield's
Make
there to
weapons.
protect my virginity. You see how old
that
that
what
one
you
kid was? He's like, he's not even old enough for it to feel
my
a woman's
gosh.
warmth. Like, that dude's in his 20s. What do you mean he's not old
No,
enough?
that bothered me so much because they're like, "Hey, this kid has never been with a woman." He's like, "It's fine, I have 5."
Yeah.
What?
Well, well, okay, I'll defend that. It wasn't a
The-
serious.
the-
The Greeks, dude.
He wasn't making a serious
They
comment
said
there.
that, you
I'll
knew he
defend
was
that.
going down.
I know that too. Yeah, they totally said, "I was like,
I'll-
okay, they're either both dying or the kid or whoever."
I'll-
Like, really?
Also, I gotta give it to Gerard Butler. Some of those lines could be delivered, if delivered by a lesser actor or someone less committed to the role, could be really, really bad. But because he full committed to each line, it really, really worked.
Yeah. No, the one-liners
My
were
favorite
pretty
line in
famous.
the whole movie, though, is when he met Xerxes, and he's like, "There is so much we could mix with our cultures." He's like, "Seems we've been mixing art cultures all morning, pal."
Yeah.
I've been sharing my culture
Every line, man.
with you
Let
guys
me
this morning.
Let me talk about this. I really love the strong argument this movie made for eugenics.
Oh, explain. Oh, are you?
What do you
talking
mean explain?
Just
They
putting
were
it
practicing eugenics. They inspected the babies for any sort of defect and like, well, a little defect.
Hey, the one guy the ugly guy with the hunchback survived, and then he betrayed them. All deformed people are evil. I
You mean
agree.
the protagonist of the movie who ends up
You
getting the
forgot to
woman
mention
at the
that,
end?
Pat. You forgot to
Oh,
mention that.
I'll point out a character that doesn't get cucked at the end of the movie. Igor.
His name is a field tease, damn you.
Yeah.
Have some respect.
Don't disrespect him. Wait. Also, Leonidas's
It's even more
Leonidas's
historically
last line to him before the end is such a good subtle burn as
Yeah,
well.
says the loser. I'm kidding. No, that was not that. I have to respect. That was an awesome line. It was an awesome line, but
Well, it's because like Spartans, they had, like the glorious thing for them is to die in battle, and it's like,
Yeah.
beautiful.
I wish you live a long and happy
They
life.
even exposit the beautiful death in the movie for you guys, Justin and Bats. They explain it.
They
to you. They're
explain
like,
it for
"We
the-
know you
for
won't get it.
The brain dead people who aren't going to understand, frankly.
It just doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, the best thing you can eat on the planet is just slugs. It's like,
Have
what?
you heard of
That's
Vikings
dumb.
before?
Yeah, and
Are
being
you
like,
kidding?
oh, the best thing to do is to die far away from your children and wife, so somebody else can like come up,
Bang
take
'em.
over, and the
God
weakest
damn it.
man in your society can run your country. That's
God
the best
damn it.
thing ever. Like,
I have
what?
no comeback to that.
let's get into that scene, right? The worst. Like, I remember watching this, in the theaters and thinking like, what the fuck? The scene where
When did this come out? Like 2006?
Yes,
yes, 2006. Yes,
that's one of the things.
actually, yeah.
So, when you were like
when
14, child?
Was it?
she talks to the Senate, right? The Senate. And she makes that terrible plea, and then the guy's like, haha, I got the punani for free, and like
That scene's
backstab
not
her.
in the movie. Don't listen to him. That,
Don't,
then-
a female in this movie.
And then she takes the sword off of the guard, who just lets her do it. And then
I mean, she
stabs
was
him.
pretty fast.
And of course, he just so happened to take all the evidence and stuffed it into his like non-existent
that was
pockets.
pretty convenient. I mean, that's the kind of thing where I could see them doing it to make it faster, so the movie's not extra long. Like they could.
That was a girl boss moment and lazy writing.
It was not. It was
It was
convenient.
not.
It was
It was
convenient.
not.
Right. I'll give you this. It was convenient writing. Wrangler. Do you have any any major criticisms of this movie, or like
Yes.
maybe your biggest criticism?
Any?
Yes, put out this fire, Wrangler, because we're about to start. I'm gonna grab my sword again.
I'm going to start fighting.
They use the same battle tactic over and over again. The Smash
Don't fix
Bros.
don't fix what ain't broken,
Smash Bros.
man.
Tactic of ledge guarding.
Ledge guarding from Smash Bros. Yeah, dude.
They're
But
camping,
Wrangler,
bro. They were
it-
camping.
Wrangler, if it works, it works, man. I don't know.
Campers.
Yeah. But playing a lot of games, if you do the same move over and over, you're it's cheesy.
Yeah.
I did want to see a little more variety.
I
in
mean,
how-
they did have to change their tactics a couple of times, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, okay, so compliment the movie. The visual fighting was obviously the best part about this, and worth a rewatch for the fighting. But also, it's just like this was the introduction into the Zack SNYDER slow mo, and it's just like, wasn't it like how much if you play at a normal speed, how much of the movie is actual fight scenes? Like, do we have like 2 minutes of fight scenes?
No, it's
I
probably more than that.
I thought it was longer than it needed to be. They could have made this tighter.
I think I don't like Zack SNYDER slow-mo, but I think it works specifically in this movie. The way that the rhythm of the fighting works, the way the music works in tune with that, I think it just blends together into this. And plus, whenever they go slow-mo, it gives the narrator an opportunity to say something else badass in compliment of what they were doing.
Yeah,
I think in this movie only works.
Regular.
Huh?
Someone's been watching
What did you
House
say?
of the Dragon.
Oh,
I said I did like the surreal stylization of it.
Yeah, because that was
like
I was saying,
the
like,
color grading. Yeah,
you could almost say that the CGI was like bad, but it was so stylized that it worked for the movie.
Exactly.
I do like
this movie does age well for that reason. It doesn't look like old bad CGI. It just looks like very stylized.
It looks very intentional.
And even though Pretty raises against the Persians, the creep of the week that kind of like showed up in this, I like that stuff. I thought that was cool. Like the giant dude, like
boss.
come down with that sword with like super strength. The
The
immortals,
Rhinoceros.
like, the
that's all comic
Rhinoceros.
book accurate. You keep.
I really wanted to see
it
the
for me.
butcher guy. Like, why didn't we see him fighting? That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Why is it whenever you make a motion bats, it just looks like you're holding cocks?
Oh,
every single
before we move on to the next subject, the slow motion. So
Because she's right next to me with all the
I'm going to
cocks.
agree that.
So you're just like,
sorry,
the slow motion was a bit much, but it does work in this movie. It wouldn't work in any other one, and it wouldn't work nowadays. But I will add that if you take that same idea and apply it to like maybe some new comic book movie idea, maybe from some very talented indie, you pick up a good indie and make a comic book movie out of that. Slow motion is how you capture those. Like,
indie. I thought
very
you said
majestic-
Indian. I was so confused.
No, indie, independent.
Look,
that
at
slow
any
motion is
time-
how you capture those scenes where it's like that
Right, but it was-
angle with the hair in the wind.
like
and
all
stuff
Zack
that.
Snyder movies, though, it was used and abused. Like there were a lot of times it was used well, but there was a lot of times where I'm just like,
You got to do it
Just
wrong
get
before
on
somebody
with
else
it,
steals it and does it
you know?
right.
You know who I thought was pretty good with dramatic slow-mos and dramatic pauses? John
that?
Woo.
John Woo.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Some of the old Chinese movies, they kind of had the same thing. They would find the rhythm of the fight and work it in just subtly here and there.
yeah,
A bit more subtly than Zack SNYDER. And again, moving forward, Zack SNYDER just uses slow-mo because he thinks that's what made
dumb.
the movie good, and it was just
yeah.
worked good.
Well, his only decision
I
is
thought it worked
how
great in
much to
Face
slow
Off.
it down.
It works with 300 because it conveys the idea of a comic book panel. That's what I'm trying to get at.
That too.
That slow
Yeah.
motion where you take 2 seconds and you turn it into 5 or 10. That you're like, boom, this is a comic book panel. Let's
So
go
how
to
much-
the next comic book panel, and then
Like
the
the
next
How
spear
much more
flying
value
and
do
see
you
the
get?
shadow going up the steps? I thought that was
Yep.
cool looking.
How much more value do you get though of
Tons.
watching it in
ton.
movie form rather
Well,
than just watching it or reading the comic?
The soundtrack
I think
is
it's cool.
better. The visuals are a little more striking. You get to see acting. I thought Michael Fassbender did a really good job in this movie too.
Yeah, that's true.
And
The
to
actor's
me,
good.
like, you're appealing to an audience that might not necessarily know the comic. They're just going to see a movie. Gerard Butler's name's
I
kind
was
of a name at the
completely
time.
unfamiliar with the comic.
Right, of course,
I
of
wasn't-
course,
a
of
lot-
course, it's
a
going
lot
to
of
bring more
people-
eyes onto
yeah.
people. Of
It
course,
recaptures it in some sense, and to me, that's the part of the movie that shined. And I was telling you guys on our Discord, I was like, I am so torn how I feel about this because man, the fight scenes, especially the slow mo, where it slows down, speeds up, then freezes. and you get those frames where the guy's like blocking with a shield and the sparks from the grenades
And then it's
all that.
fast and it's
God.
frenetic, and then it slows down again mid-motion.
Yes, between the style of the way the film looks, I've never seen a movie that looks like this. And it's got that
Exactly.
There
grittiness
isn't
to it.
another movie that.
That is so
Sin
good.
City.
No,
It's
this-
not. It's
that's
comic
the closest.
style, but it's not the same.
We watched
No,
it 2
it's
days ago. It is not on the same level. Rewatch it, you'll be like, oh yeah, he's right. We just watched it 2 days ago.
Sick.
But the look of the movie and the slow motion. The battles are great and everything, but the slow mo, there's something about it. Gives it that weight where it's like you said, speeds up and slows down, where it hits the guy. It's like, oh, and you can feel
Back
it.
to shitting on the movie, Justin.
No.
No, wait. Now, costume design also. It was pretty. It was not
They
historical.
were
it was
all
more-
wearing diapers.
No, even the enemies. Look at the Persians too. They
Yeah.
had some really interesting looking enemies.
Oh, yeah.
Persians had some decent looking
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
even
the
the
acting's
tall
great.
brown
The
gay
Mumikil?
king, whatever you want to call him, Xerxes. That's his name. But
we
Oh,
can
I
all
thought
admit
that was
this.
the-
Is,
I
The
thought
dude
that
that
was
headbutted a tackle box. I mean, I swear, he just hooked fish hooks all over his face.
Wait, wasn't the
Roll around
actor
it.
who played Xerxes that person who was all over the news from like boxing and the Olympics?
oh my god, you're right. It looks just like him.
Isn't that? No, wait, I'm thinking of somebody else. Sorry, continue.
all right. So I mean, but we can all admit that the story, like the plot, it's absolute ass, right?
No,
No, not
It's
the comic
simple.
book part.
it's
Not the
simple,
comic
but
book
no,
part.
it's not.
Really?
I
Like, come
could-
on.
I
It's just
could
the
make it
contradiction of like, we need to convince him to go to war, but you already made a declaration of war.
Yeah.
He doesn't have absolute power. It's like the
Right.
president
No,
can't just decide we're going to
It
war.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You made a declaration of war. Persia is going to attack you
Oh.
because you killed
Yeah.
their messenger. Like that's no and if or buts. That's a declaration of war.
It's a problem.
I
Can we,
think it was a criticism of needless bureaucracy.
Plus,
And I
the
can't-
Persia-
No,
they
that was
already
the
burned
attempt
down,
that
like,
they
the
tried to
neighboring
do.
city,
That-
you know,
that
it's
was
like they already
historically
burned
what
that
happened.
city. Of course, we're next. Like we should probably defend ourselves. I don't know.
They tried to tell that story, but the writing of it's so poor that they failed at doing that. Like it's like one of those things. We can see what you're trying to do. You're just doing it like shit.
I think you can't conceive of a group of a governing body of people saying this. We may be going to war, but we're not going to just say it. We're not going to declare it officially. There's a big
If
difference
he didn't
between
kill the messenger,
under-
there'd be a little bit more of an argument.
That's Bill. That's how I attempt to look anytime I go on stream by myself.
Like I say, I do think the movie succeeds at being exactly what it intended.
You know what?
to be.
Why didn't we bring?
popcorn
Sorry,
flick.
go ahead. Why didn't we bring
Stop cutting people.
Seabats? Why didn't we bring Seabats on this panel? We need more 300 love on this panel.
Yo, I want to know what the budget for the steroids was on this.
I know what the
covered
workout.
that.
I knew what the workout was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that workout's get the fuck
Well,
out of here.
that's
They,
lifting
none of them
250.
got those muscles from working out. They got it from
they're
they worked
painted
out,
on.
but steroids.
They were in good shape, but they were painted on to a degree as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
some
but
of
you
them
could, yeah, but
definitely
you could
were,
see
yeah.
you could see if you
Yeah.
look if you
If you watch
examine
behind the scenes, they show them like
no if you examine
highlighting
Gerard
shadows.
Butler's
And
pecs, the way
part of
that
it-
the skin stretches, it's very obvious and indicates steroids.
and
have to
just
say,
like
Are the
totally
steroids in the room with you,
comic
Bats?
Style, they painted those shadows and made it more drastic again to
Yeah.
replicate like the look of the comic.
comic.
Too.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how you make a comic book movie. This and Sin City. They figured it out. This is 2006, people. This is 2006.
Actually-
you're telling me they don't know how to adapt source material accurately?
Yeah.
Fuck off. They fucking not only adapted it accurately, they pulled it off, and they were so bored that they added all the Lena Headley shit. Like they just added shit. They
Yeah,
didn't change
yeah.
shit. They added shit.
Yo,
That's
talk about
insane.
unnecessary sex scenes. The one at the beginning.
The real one? That's a real
Yeah.
one. It's a real
I-
one. They actually
you know,
did.
I
was-
don't know. Where did you hear
You know,
that?
Bats, I was angry too.
DVD.
I had to watch it 3 times just to confirm how angry I was at the time.
Yeah.
Man, you really loved watching
I
Gerard
honestly
Butler's
could have
butt.
done without that.
Oh yeah, he had
I'm-
a really long.
I'm
it was
personally
like
not a fan of sex scenes on screen. It just-
Wait,
I,
neither
I,
are
I,
us.
I,
It is
I'm
kinda
not. I'm not
fucking-
either. I was just joking, but still, it was for the man.
yeah,
But
know what?
I mean, seriously, a lot of the background drama, I think that did drag it down. It's like, can we get
Yeah,
back
absolutely.
to the army here? You know,
If
I-
they cut out
On,
all that, yeah.
Wrangler, on one hand, I do agree. On another hand, if a movie is all action all the time, you get desensitized to it and it loses.
Yeah,
its
but
impact.
okay. We're admitting that we need more than just
guys,
action.
guys,
But
listen to me.
the part that isn't action.
Listen!
That's a great Spartan impression.
If you keep doing that, something you do not want is going to happen to you with 100% certainty.
That's a great clip.
Yeah. But you can't say like, oh yeah, we needed this other aspect of the story, but that doesn't justify that aspect of the story being good.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I think it was just passable.
Oh, come on. It was impassable. It was awful. And then let's talk about
I don't know,
Igor.
Herman. You're right. You're right. Bats can't complain about the writing. I think it's coming from a place of bad faith. I think it's a smear job.
Action in this movie wasn't so
No,
good.
in all seriousness, if they wanted to slow down and do stuff, some character development amongst the soldiers would have been nice for that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
And they did a little bit, but they definitely could have done more.
All right, let's talk about Igor. We need to talk about Igor, right? Because his whole part of the movie was retarded too. They inspect them as babies, so it's a little bit like how did the family slip through? That's fine,
Thanks
right?
for the vote of confidence.
He probably came out looking like a little Lovecraftian monster, and they didn't even present him for it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But the father trained him to be a soldier?
No.
Yeah, he was. The father was a Spartan. He just wasn't willing.
No,
to give up
but why?
his
Look at your son. He can't lift his shield up. You're like, okay, maybe we should try to teach you something you can actually do.
He was a Spartan. What else was he going to teach him? He wasn't a freaking baker.
No, guys.
He's like, I'll teach my son what I know, and I'm a soldier.
What? Weren't there Spartans that were just like senators and like weasels and stuff?
Yeah.
And they taught him to go do something.
Yeah, they
else.
were on
It's
top
like
of the
all
mountain,
Spartans
covered
were
with
just
boys.
soldiers.
There were different. There were different. There was a weird kind of societal and social.
Yo, the amount of code going on with
on the mountain
Kahuna.
with the other guys. Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying the Spart, like having read the history and looked at how their social structure was built. It's very weird. It's very weird.
I can't believe he got to the king of Sparta before somebody finally told him, you can't be in formation, you can't be a soldier. And he's like, no! And then he throws a hissy fit, he's like, I will get you back! And granted, King Leonidas knows that this guy knows the secret route, the flank,
100% they
and
should have
just
killed him.
lets him go.
Yep. And he
What the fuck do you think's gonna happen, dude?
Oh, they don't make any sense. Oh, my mangina.
Playing.
But,
okay.
What was cool is King Leonidas was not condescending to him at all.
He wasn't. Yeah, he
said,
was.
"Look,
He was straight
you're
with
not
him.
capable of this, but we could use you. Please.
He should have been, though. He should have been,
Well,
though.
that's
Like, what are you,
really
retarded? Like, what are you wasting my time for?
I got thoughts. So,
do you
if
not
ELTs
see the
existed-
hunt?
He has thoughts. Let him speak.
If fealties existed, that's a thing. It's even described as a goat path that he betrayed the Persians to. So any other things like his hunchback posture and stuff might be added on by like Frank Miller.
Yeah.
The other side note was what we were talking about just before that. I forgot because
Sorry,
it was so long.
Igor?
I have thoughts on it though. I have
Igor?
thoughts
Being
on
deformed at birth, being trained to be a soldier.
Giving him a job.
being trained to be a soldier. It was something
Aha.
Evely said. He's like, okay, there's politicians, right? Yes, there is, but you have to be born into royalty, meaning you're not a helot, you're not a Spartan slave, you're not a commoner. You're born into royalty. You go through the Agoge. You get raised as a royal soldier. You go win some
go through
fucking
the eugenics
battles.
program.
You gain some renown, and you retire as a senator. So what they should have portrayed is old soldiers in the Senate. That's who made up the Spartan Senate, was people who were like Leonidas, but they lived to be old. You know what I mean? And they're gonna drag down the army
survived.
if they go. Yeah.
They survived until age 30. They're like, you know what? You can retire. Your last 5 years are going to be great.
Which you can see why Spartan culture historically would paint them as slime balls if that's the case. They didn't even die. They're bitches. Yeah.
Losers didn't
Igor's
die.
Parents, they could have built him a church with a tower with a bell in it, and he could just operate that.
That's my other thought,
I was going to
really.
say, I can't wait for Igor versus Quasimodo.
And then his mom could have died right after he was
do it.
born, and he could have been taken in by a French priest. It could have been the whole thing.
He's got a great voice. We know he can sing.
He's obviously strong. He has a good thrust. Anyway.
Hey, if Helen Keller can do it, I have faith in you.
Whoa!
Whoa, bro.
Off it. All right, bye. You're gone. You did not speak that name here, all right?
Oh, come on,
Why did you say that name?
If HK can make it happen, I have faith.
Speaking of BVS, yeah.
Hey, somebody say Helen Keller.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
Oh no, I've been discovered.
Don't kick the dying ugly horse when she's down, all right?
All right. I think it's time. It's time to judge. Kuna.
Obviously.
It freaking floats!
Yeah.
The best
We know
Zack
how
Snyder
big-
movie. We know how it is, frankly.
Yeah.
And even with that being said, I do think it's the best Zack Snyder movie. And whether it floats or whether it sinks just depends on whether on the average. Is there more good than bad? And I do believe there's more good than bad. So that's it.
Okay.
Justine.
Lovely.
If you were going to rate this just on the action and the style, it would float. Unfortunately, there's a story here, and it has many major issues, and for that reason, it's a sinker.
Sick. All right, AC. Wrangler, don't say anything yet. You're gonna be the last one. AC.
see.
Uh-oh. Is the vote not coming in? Uh-oh.
There's gonna be 300 of them out
Five.
there.
A water pipe.
4, 3,
Oh shush.
2,
Wrangler, what's your
1.
Wrangler,
No. I declare it a sinker. It sinks. Wrangler.
Okay, so two for sink.
I kind of agree with Justin about the story has its problems. However, it was enough fun for me to overcome that, so it's a floater.
Another fun guy. You had fun.
Loser.
It's fun.
Yep.
All right,
Can't
let's
beat
go-
fun. I can't argue with that.
Let's go to the chat. Who's gonna say it floats?
All right, guys, chat. Yay or nay? Are you making a poll?
I'm not on the right account on. Yeah, I can't.
Guys,
Chat. Why for
sink or float?
Yeah, say
They
float.
can type out the whole damn word.
Yeah.
Why for float or
Sinker. Timmy K's a sinker.
2 floaters and 2 sleeping with the fishes.
Nipples.
Floater also sounds like a bad term with sinker. It's like-
Nipples always float. Thank you, Herman.
So one for sink at the current moment.
So maybe that could be your term. A floater is something.
That's 2 floats, 2 floats, 1 sink.
Floats. Okay.
3
All right.
floats,
Wait, you can't count yourself.
man.
4 floats.
4.
Oh no. Okay.
By the way, what did you guys think
All
of Xerxes' entrance?
What's that?
Everybody carrying him on that
bunch of
big
Persians in
parade
the chat.
float, and then he steps down the stairs, and they come out and form steps in front of him.
It's
Rest
pretty
of the way
cool.
around.
I
But I got
like
to admit,
Whenever it's like his helmet clouded.
That's kind of gay.
sorry, trying to play
fat
that.
Everything's
little
too
fuck.
heavy. All that training, all they do, their whole life is train, and he can't hit a guy with a spear.
Yeah, failure. What a failure.
Justin, he made a god bleed. That's all we needed.
Imagine
All right.
if he made that god die right in front of
Justin,
everybody.
he
Imagine
did what he's a man of his word, and he did what he promised.
10,000 BC.
Leonidas had good aim. Imagine all that.
Yeah, it would
practice.
look like
Spear-
10,000.
You couldn't hit him with a football at that distance.
I know, because I might have equal odds. I don't know. He missed it.
It fealties. So I think the implication is that his father died at war because he's a Spartan, which is why his father's shield is all dented up and beat up, right? And his mother, when she gave birth to him, assuming while his father was at war, she ran away. Obviously, like what Kuna said, he came out looking like Cthulhu, and she ran away with him. He exiled himself out of shame because he knew that it makes sense to kill him, right? And basically spent his entire life trying his best to like train himself. And then the moment came, you can imagine, he hears that Sparta's going off to war. King Leonidas is walking by this way. He can just follow them and, you know, finally shoot his shot, which is why he freaked out the way he did, because that was like the moment and it was just a waste, you know. And it's like he feels all the shame because of his father and shit. But like, yeah, I had to just get that out because I was like thinking about that earlier. I don't
That's
know.
fine.
even if you weren't-
Also, we took a vote. It floats. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, imagine being like a normal, not deformed person showing up and being like, "I've been trained." like, yeah, well, you're not one of these elite 300, so bye.
Right.
Is that you think that's how Leonidas would say it? Bye.
Absolutely, I know that's how he'd say it. You really take a bite of the apple.
The 300 were his.
I thought they had rations in the Marines, not fruitcakes. Anyway,
Who's ready for the?
That's all they had was fruit. That's the only thing we saw in the entire movie was fruit. Anyways, okay, on to the next topic.
Male fruit.
Some of us are straight and enjoy the movie 300. But no, seriously, I love coming on here. I love coming on here with you.
That's kind of gay.
I was trying to be sweet.
You like coming on here?
You
like coming on here?
Yeah. So hard. Anyway. frankly, we have the best fluids on this show. Yeah. But no, I really enjoy having good. And Wrangler, you're a great guy. I've been on your show many times. Good friends. I love having people like you on this show. I love this show, the kind of vibe we get, because we talk about some serious topics, but with a very non-seriously confrontational air, it's just a lot of fun. And I hope the audience enjoys that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
And it gives me an excuse to talk about things that I like to talk about and that most people in my personal life would not be interested in having a real conversation about. And so I really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate this show. And those are my closing thoughts. Just a little homophobic.
Well, I need to admit something. I think 300 floats. I just want to be contrarian.
I knew it.
I think the action just like slightly bumps it up, but look, I want to have fun. I want to like fight you fuckers. So.
Yeah, I had my guard up, and then like after that initial criticism, you gave it like 4 positive things. I'm like, what's he doing here? He's like setting up.
I want more to sink to the iron seas. Damn it!
He could sniff you out. He knew you just wanted to debate someone.
Yeah, I've met you in person. I could smell it.
Hey, true
that's the scent of a liar. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what a bad faith debate looks like.
You just watched a clip from the Iron Seas podcast. Make sure to like this, subscribe, it helps us out a little bit, and please catch the show live at 9:30 Eastern every Tuesday.